Greetings and welcome to Our Schools Monthly, a video magazine for the Port Huron Area School District where we take you into the schools to see what our students and teachers are doing on a daily basis. And today I have a question before we go to our program. What do stocks, dollars, and cereal have in common? Well, you might think that we're talking about buying stocks with our dollars in general food, but in actuality, these are things that our students have been involved in recent weeks. So as we move into our program today, we're going to be talking to Beverly Thole of Harrison Hawks and Jim Bedreva of Port Huron South, and also with Maureen Morgan from the Harrison Hawks. So stay tuned and find out what's happening in our schools as we experience Our Schools Monthly.
You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3.
When there's no place after school for kids to be.
Nothing to do but hanging on city streets.
When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
School is always a place for students to learn about things that are happening in the world around them, and Beverly Thole of the Harrison Hawks, Harrison Elementary School, has worked through a program to allow the students to understand the world of banking. Now, without telling you any more than that, I'd like to let Beverly tell you about what's happening with the Harrison Hawks Money Express. I recently had a chance to talk to her, so let's listen in on that interview. Today we have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about banking as it pertains to the Port Huron Area school system. And to do that, we're going to be talking with Beverly Thole, a Title I teacher working with upper elementary at Harrison Elementary. She's with us in the studio today, so let's find out what's happening at Harrison Elementary. Hi, Beverly. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ken.
I understand that you have a real undertaking taking place at Harrison Elementary concerned with some money and the children's opportunity to experience the real world of banking, and that's sponsored by one of our local banking institutions. Would you like to tell me a little bit about it?
Okay, it's sponsored with National Bank of Detroit. We are affiliated with the Water Street branch, and we have a in-school bank where NBD comes in and gives us a hand, and our students are able to make deposits.
And the students are actually the employees of this bank in this school?
Yes, we have 15 fifth grade students who have been trained, who have undergone quite a series to get there. First of all, they filled out the application form. Then they had a money skills test they had to take. Then they went through 2 interviews. The first one with me. Second one was with Mrs. Nancy Shank and Mrs. Sue Coughlin over at NBD Bank. They came out and interviewed the students. In fact, one of the students said, "This is like a real interview. This is for real."
That's a good experience for them, even at that young age.
Oh, it was excellent. The kids really loved it, and we loved doing it with them.
Now, I understand they also actually have a bank look. How did that come about?
NBD supplied the facade, and it's 3 teller stations, and it's, it's hard to say here, but it's like plywood, and in the front it says NBD-Harrison Hawks Money Express.
And that's the title of the bank?
That's our
Harrison
title.
Hawks Money Express.
Yes, it is.
Now, what functions can the students do at this bank?
Only make deposits.
Okay. No withdrawals?
No withdrawals.
That's my kind of bank. I can save then.
Yes.
So
that's
what
they're
happens
doing.
to the money then once they've made these deposits?
Okay, it's taken over to the bank, and they receive interest just like on a regular deposit account. And in order to withdraw, the parents have to go.
To the bank with
To
them?
the bank
To the
with
real
them.
bank with them?
Yes.
Okay. I understand that this has been a real learning experience for them. What other kinds of things have they discovered as bankers?
Oh, dealing with the people. They're learning responsibility, discipline, being there. It's a weekly job that they have to show up at. And they do, the tellers does the collecting of the money, that makes all the forms, and makes sure the students receive a receipt back for the money that they deposited. They cash out just like a regular teller. The manager of the bank goes around and takes the attendance, makes sure everybody's there. If not, she has to get replacements. The assistant manager, of course, helps her. We have security police. The security police go and get the students from the different classrooms and bring them down. And then we have public relations to help with the customer accounts if there's any problems, if they want to set up a new account, what the paperwork is. And we have a marketing group.
And these are all students who are doing these functions. When you say
Yes.
manager and assistant manager, these are elementary students who are filling
Yes.
these roles.
5th grade students right now.
Oh, that's
And we'll
excellent.
be training 4th grade students shortly.
Now, how often is the bank open?
It's right at the present time, it's open every week. Every Tuesday we have it open. Once we get it going where the kids are in the habit of depositing, we will be opening on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of each month.
And do the kids have little passbooks or anything to record what deposits
They
they've
do,
made?
just like a real bank.
What if they lose one?
If they lose the passbook, we have their account numbers, we have them on cards, we've got everything handy to look up, because not always when they come in do they have the receipts made out, the deposit slips, so that bankers, the employees have to help them with that.
And I have 3 children of my own, so I know how often they lose things. It's usually not so much losing as it is, whoops, it went through the laundry.
Yes.
Need to replace that. I don't think banks are real happy about things going through the laundry
No,
to
I
begin
don't
with.
think so.
Dave Smith is your principal there. What
Yes,
does
he
he
is.
think about all this?
Oh, he's the one who started it all.
Is he?
Yes, he is. He asked at one of our staff meetings who would like to volunteer and to implement this bank. And I told him that I was really interested in it. And from there, I sent out letters of intent to the parents, letting them know what the thoughts were, and getting names for the bank from the students, ballots they had to fill out. And then we also had a motto. One of our students decided that we don't just need a bank name, we need a motto for our bank, where we earn and learn is the motto. And from there we went for the depositors, the employees, which students were interested. And another thing the students have to do is they have to keep their grades up in their classroom, and their citizenship has to be up there, or they're not going to continue to work at the bank. And it's amazing how responsible these
sure.
children become.
And citizenship, of course, is tied
Yes.
directly to good discipline,
Yes, it
behaving
is.
yourself and all that. So I was going to ask you about the motto, as a matter of fact, and I was also going to ask you about the name, and you touched on that. Was this contest or opportunity to name this branch of the bank open to everybody in school?
Yes, it was.
Every grade level?
All grade levels. We had about 100 children come up with names, and most of them were different. I was amazed at how many ways they could put Harrison and attach it to a bank. And they also received the top winner. She received $25 from National Bank of Detroit
great.
as the first deposit. And the motto, we decided since she did this on her own, we have to give her a prize too, so we gave her $5.
Oh, that's really nice. That's great. So the other question that I have then is, when does the ATM come in?
Okay, that they're going to find out about when we go on our field trip. NBD has arranged a field trip for the
Oh.
students, and they're looking forward to that, and they're even going to have pizza there.
Oh, well, now I've never had pizza at the bank, so I think we're getting out of the age of realism here.
And they'll be able to play with the ATM machines and see how they work and see how everything ties up, and even spend some time as a teller with a teller
Oh,
at
that's
the bank.
an excellent experience for kids, especially at this young age. It certainly drives home the point of good math skills, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Now, do you also have any kind of checking accounts or any plans to introduce any of the other functions of a bank, or just savings deposits?
Just savings at this time, and we haven't talked about any expanding in any way.
Will the kids be exposed to those ideas, though?
Oh, yes. NBD also has a checking account system, like a unit for the teachers to teach with. And they will also be at our career day, and they will be talking about the career as a bank teller manager, all the phases of a bank.
Well, Beverly, while we've been talking, the audience at home has had a chance to see some of the footage that was brought in from Harrison of the grand opening of the NBD Bank at Harrison Elementary. So I guess if I were to ask you to sum this all up in a nutshell, what would your response be to this whole experience?
Well, the Partnership in Learning is a wonderful experience for the students and the staff and for the community. It's working 100%. The students are excited and they're responsible, disciplined, they're eager, and it's a real life experience.
So you'd give it an A+.
A+.
And your enthusiastic response, I'm sure, touches the kids as well, and they just really get involved with it.
I really hope so.
Okay, good, thank you. Well, I want to thank Beverly for being with us today. And there you have it, folks at home. You know what's happening now at Harrison Elementary, and the Harrison Hawks Money Express is moving. So thanks for joining us. It was our pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Recently, Port Huron became a focus of the national scene as CNBC came to this area to attend Port Huron South for the day to interview Jim Bedreva and the Eagles, Port Huron South Stock Investment Club, and their outstanding accomplishment. That's the teaser. Now let's go to the interview with Mr. Bedreva and some footage of Port Huron South to see what actually happened there and learn about their wonderful experience in the stock market. So you actually took $10,000 and turned it into $1,009,000 in just a little over 4 months, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're going to have some serious talk. And now that I've got your attention, with me today is Mr. Jim Bedreva, who is a teacher at Port Huron South and the advisor for the Eagles Investment Club. And you may have heard something about this particular group in the last couple of weeks. They're the group that has been recognized as national winners. And so we're going to talk about that today and learn a little bit more about how this came to be. But first, I have a question for you. I understand you've been quite the media celebrity for the last couple of weeks. Why don't you tell us who else has been interviewing you?
Well, we've had a few crews into the school. We've had CNBC. They took us, did a videotape shot with our school. They had us live at the Cobo Center the night our award was presented. We had CNN, Headline News, the local edition, came out and did something. Fox 2 came out, and Extra came out. So we've had a total, with today, we've had 5 studios, and Oprah, the Oprah Winfrey Show, gave us a call, and they had reviewed some of our tape too. They're interested as well.
So that's still a possibility, maybe.
Well, we don't know. I'm not going to bank that one, but bank that one.
Well, if you need someone to go with you to Chicago, give me a call. I'll be glad to help Oprah interview you.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jim, how did all this come to be? I mean, it's kind of an unusual match, pairing the students from Port Huron South who maybe are there because they had some learning difficulties or some behavioral difficulties with these national winners of this competition. How did they get interested in this? How did you get them started in this?
Well, I think perhaps teaching math or social studies is one thing, but when we started talking dollars, their attention perked up. So they got right into it. I promised them at the beginning of the year I would give each one of them $10,000, and I left that message up on the chalkboard for approximately 3 weeks to a month.
Now let's explain theoretical dollars. Not 10,000 real
Well,
dollars.
the discussion was there. They didn't exactly know it was theoretical or not. Some of them wanted to cash in their chips right away. Just take the cash and go shopping.
Yep.
But I offered them $10,000, and I told them that the details would follow. And with that, I had anticipated doing a unit on personal finance, and with that, going into some investing and that sort of thing. I called a friend of mine at Smith Barney and asked if she had any educational materials. I know she'd mentioned something to that effect. She said, of course, well, we can send you all sorts of stuff, but you've got to check out CNBC. They've got a contest going that's really right exactly what you want. I was a little hesitant, and she mentioned it a couple of times more, and finally I thought, well, I'll look it up on the internet. And fortunately, we've got the internet in this classroom where we could do it, and the kids and I looked up the site. The contest also offered our class $10,000, and
it just happened to coincide? The 10,000 you told them, and then the 10,000 there?
Exactly. It was just a number I picked out of the sky. I thought, well, if they're going to invest in stocks, $10,000 would allow them to buy maybe 2 blocks of 100 shares of something in the mid-range pricing, so $10,000 seemed like a reasonable offering for the kids, and as it turns out, that's what the stock tournament was offering our school. And of course, again, monopoly money, theoretical dollars. The kids still, at that point in time, there was some question whether it was real money or not, but they soon realized that it was a tournament.
Now, you made mention to the internet. Isn't it handy and convenient for you to have access to the internet in your classroom? This push that we've had in the Port Huron Area School District to have technology, computer technology in all the classrooms has really paid off in your case.
It's amazing, yeah, and it's brand new for us. The fact that we've got the internet in the classroom, full access to not just the internet, but cable television, because, of course, CNBC, which broadcasts the market before, of course, trading and through the whole trading day, was an absolute advantage. The technology we had in the classroom, as it turns out, allowed us to compete with any school anywhere. In fact, if you looked at the top 4 or 5 teams in the tournament that finished in the tournament, most of those were academies or exclusive schools where the parents would pay tuition and so forth, and I suspect had unlimited funding. Our school district, the way they took care of the technology in the classroom, the way they chose the technology, offered us a chance to compete with any school anywhere.
And I know the thing that just really amazed me, I looked at those returns for the 5 top schools, and you were only close to the second place school. They were behind you by, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the others were way below you. So you really emerged victorious with a shining victory here, and it was just incredible. And I also understand that some of these other schools had financial advisors and brokers and real stock consultants, and that's the role that you took. You became kind of a stock guru.
I learned real quick. I mean, it was a lot of work, a lot of internet searching, and it's amazing how much information is available for free once you're set up with the internet. And we found all sorts of sites that offered information, the search engines, Yahoo and InfoSeek, and of course we followed the news services all on the internet. The brokerages, of course, they have live quotes and other advantages that some of the other teams had, but we were able to compete, obviously.
Yeah. One of the things that I should mention, and I know this is always going to be forthcoming, just because you were successful in this environment, you're really not looking at going into the stock field yourself, are you? Because I understand you've had some kind of unusual phone calls from people who think you really are that stock guru that I mentioned, and they're looking for advice. Is there any comment that you'd like to give to our TV audience about whether or not you are available for advice?
Well, I've had some interesting phone calls. I had a phone call. To me, it was pretty much in the middle of the night. I was already tucked in, and my children, who have different hours than I do, with later start in school, they're up. Phone rings, and of course they screen my calls. Dad, the phone, and I get out of bed, answer it, and it was somebody in California, probably just finished dinner or so, and he was really upset on the phone. He read about us on the internet and followed how we did through the tournament. And he started out, as it turns out, there's that figure again, $10,000. He said he put, for real, $10,000 in the market this fall. It went up 30%, which was tremendous in the real world. And but he lost it. He wanted help. He lost. He's down dipping into his $10,000, and
that puts you into a precarious situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want financial advice, I would suggest go to a stockbroker. If you want advice in education, maybe go to a teacher.
Yep.
But
Speaking of which, let's get back to the kids now for just a second, because I know when I came over to Port Huron South to observe, they really were actively involved in all the things that they were doing. And I understand the phrase day traders flew around quite a bit. Oh, yeah. So what exactly did the kids do in regard to this competition? What was their role?
The kids, I as any teacher, a good teacher would do, and most everybody does, prepare your lessons for the day. And my lessons preparing for the day would be, I would be reading about the stock market at night. I'd follow the CNBC market wrap-up when I got home. I would research in the morning. I'd get up probably about 4:30. And search the internet, find out what type of business news, what stocks were hot for the day. I would come in with my notes, and I would present to the kids 12, maybe 20 different stocks that were mentioned as having some potential. And then we would, of course, in class, talk it over, and the kids would decide which stocks they wanted to choose and where we would allocate how much money into each one of those. So the lessons were prepared, of course, in research as a teacher would in the classroom. Well, that was me, and the kids, they selected, sorted out, and they made the decisions from there.
But they were pretty much on their own to pick which stock they wanted, and however it worked, it was what they chose to do. For example, I know some of them picked one stock that didn't do as well. Some of them picked another stock that did really, really well. And I heard the catchphrase, buy low, sell high, or buy low, sell dearly is what I heard.
Sell dearly, that's right. That's a quote from a financial historian, I guess.
But I also know that I saw the kids watching on the TV monitor watching the ticker tape, so to speak, go across the bottom of the screen, identifying where the stocks were, and they would sit there and follow that information until they found their stock and cite where it was. Did they keep track of the information then and whether the stocks were up or down? And I understand there was also a favorite television gal who shared stock quotes every morning, and she has her own fan club in your classroom.
The fan club for Maria Bartiromo is at Port Huron South. It started there. Maria would give us the hot stocks. She's a personality, of course, on CNBC, and she would give us last-minute information that might update what we had looked at. But from that information, the kids, we'd set targets. What type of growth we'd expect a given stock. Being a day trader, it's what happens during that day is what we're looking at. So we'd look at a stock and perhaps it was selling for $20, for example, and we knew there was a rumor coming around that somebody was going to buy them for $24, $25, and another company, they would call it a merger, and that would give us a higher target of growth. We would expect if that rumor were true, that the stock would jump up to close to maybe the price that was being paid for it. So we would have the targets, and so my morning classes would, earlier in the day classes would select the stocks. We'd set up the targets. Afternoon classes would watch the ticker tape, and they would be my signal. They would be my monitors telling me where the stocks were. Oh, Mr. Pedrava, Motorola, they're up too, you know, and or they're up a 16th or down a 16th or whatever. And from that, we would decide and follow the stock and decide when we would sell.
Well, the bottom line is it's an incredible job. You all came together, everything seemed to click, and the kids made wise investments, and I have to say I was really impressed when, with all this notoriety coming their way, they did a remarkable job being on camera, interviewing, keeping their cool. You know, they just kind of took it all in stride, and to realize that this national competition came to a close and they were the winners nationwide. We should mention there were 2,300 other schools involved in this, and they are the #1 school out of 2,300 across the United States, which is a major accomplishment. And we'd like to take just a moment to compliment you and the students and Port Huron South, Mrs. Monahan and her entire staff, for the way everything has been handled for the last few weeks, especially since the news has broken that you've won. It's just been a Class A operation. We're really proud. Proud of your accomplishment and proud of the school itself. And thank you very much for being with us today. It was my pleasure to interview you, and good luck. Let me know if there are any hot tips.
Keep you posted.
The last installment of today's show, I promised you we'd talk about cereal. And so we're going to take you once again to Harrison Elementary, where Maureen Morgan and her sister came up with an idea to use not only the box tops, but the cereal itself to get the kids involved in the Cereal Olympics. The box tops bring them prizes and cash awards from cereal companies, but the cereal itself was worth experimenting with and eating, so we take you to Harrison Elementary to see what was happening there.
Today is our Big G Olympics. We're going to try to make this a first annual event. It was a brainstorm of my sister and I. I took the idea to the extreme of having it competitive level at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. It's in cooperation with the Box Tops for Education and the General Mills. And the children are collecting box tops in each one of their classrooms to earn money for their classroom to spend as they wish. Today's projects included the kindergarten level. They did Cheerio necklaces. The 1st graders did sorting of tricks, adding tricks. The 2nd grade did a Lucky Charms sorting and counting, adding of Lucky Charm pieces. Our 3rd graders are going to compete with stacking Cheerios to see who can stack the highest. We have top 3 winners out of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade level. The 4th graders are doing a game called Toss Your Cookies, which is shot putting a piece of cereal, Cookie Crisp cereal. And the 5th graders did symmetrical designs. And we have celebrity local judges with us today. We have Garth Krewall from the Times-Herald, Mike Mullins from Headline News, Christy Hazard from downtown Port Huron. We have a couple of the Border Cats, Eric Olson and Jeff Hare, and Sarah with the Border Cats. I'm hoping to make this an annual event, and I want to thank everybody all for coming out today and helping support our community and support our school.
So that's our show today. We hope you learned something about cereal, banking, and buying stocks. But be careful, they can all be a little tricky, so know what you're doing. And that's exactly the focus of our Schools Monthly. We want you to know what we're doing, and we hope you've enjoyed learning about what's happening in the Port Union Area School District. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.